welcome back to my channel. So today we're sitting down and we're playing with the new McGrath x Bridgerton collab part 2, collab 2 times 2. I don't really know what they're calling it, but they already collabed once and they came out with a second round. And I picked up the palette and a lipstick that we're going to be trying out today for you. I love the first palette so much, so I'm like really excited to try out this palette. Before we get started, don't forget I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday for you guys. If you like this video while you're watching it, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. It really does help my channel out. And other than that, if you're excited and you want to hear / see my thoughts on the new Bridgerton collab, then let's go ahead and get started. So this is what the box looks like that it comes in. Honestly, it looks very similar to the first palette, except it is more pink tone, and the first one was blue. So this is what the box looks like, and then on the back it has ingredients. It is an 18-month shelf life, which I really appreciate. Anything that has more than like a year-long shelf life, because come on. We keep our makeup more than a year. Honestly, we keep our makeup more than 18 months. This is what the front of the palette looks like. And then again, this is the back that has the shade names, and it says that's in collaboration with Netflix. This one is technically called the Mothership Belle of the Ball. So I do have the first one here to compare it to for you guys. This one is Diamond of the First Water. So they look very similar, except for this one is just more pink, but it's got like the pearly details and all of that. I honestly like both palettes. Then when you open this baby up, this is the 6 shades that come in it. Yes, this is only 6 shades, and yes, it is $65. I know that's quite a bit of money. However, McGrath usually has like a discount code when she first releases a launch, and I ended up getting 10% off the palette and the lipstick. It was still quite a bit of money, but like I said, I love this first one so much. I'm obsessed with this palette. So when she came out with the second one, even though they're honestly very similar, they're very similar, I knew I was going to pick it up. I'm going to do swatches of this palette first, and then we'll compare it to swatches of the first palette. So I'm going to do the top row and then the bottom row for you. The first one right here is called Refinement. Then we have Regency Romance, which this seems to be one of her satin matte shades, which she's got 2 in the other palette, and I love that formulation. Then we have a beautiful special shade called Diamond Desire. Oh, stop it. The only matte in the palette is called Forbidden Amour. Oh yeah, that swatched very beautifully. Then we have a pretty blue shimmer called Daring Dandy. That got a little bit chunky, but it is really pretty. Last but not least, I think we have another special shade called Forever Charmed. Oh yeah. So I'm not in totally love with the tone of this, but that sparkle, ooh, that's stunning. So here's the swatches a little bit closer for you guys. You can see them in all their sparkly glory. I actually think the swatches are really beautiful. Like I said, I could have done without this, but these other ones are stunning. So here are the two palettes together. If you can see, there are definitely some similarities between the two of them, but I think there's going to be enough of a difference to justify having both palettes. So like obviously we've got the 2 pinks here in this one, but you can tell in the pan that they have a different tone to them. This blue and this blue I thought were going to be similar, but they are completely different formulations from Pat McGrath. And then even these 2 like shimmery champagne shades, I actually think I'm going to prefer the first one more. And then the mattes, again, very similar, but you can tell that this is a little bit more brown and this is a little bit more like burgundy-ish tones. So while they are very similar, and she could have done like a little something different in my opinion, because they are so similar, I do think they are different enough to, like I said, justify having both palettes. Alright, so here we have all of the comparison swatches for you guys, all the shades that I thought were going to be similar to each other. We have the first palette, which is the Diamond of the First Water on top, and then the second palette, which I already forget what it's called, Belle of the Ball on the bottom. So these are the 2 mattes. This one's the first one, this one is the second. Like I said, you can definitely tell upon swatch that they are different. They're very similar. I'll give you that. They are very similar, and they actually do look a little bit more different in person than on camera, but they are very similar. We probably could have had a different matte shade. This one's just a little bit more warm tone and a little bit more rosy, while this one's a little bit more brown. Is there enough of a difference between these 2 to have both? I don't know. That's kind of your judgment call, but they are very similar. Then we have the 3 pinks. These are the 2 from the first palette, and then this one is the one from the second. So you can see they are definitely different. These look, again, a lot more similar on camera than they do in person. In person, this one from the first palette just looks a little bit more like red tone, and then this one is a little bit more corally. Again, very, very similar. Then we have the two shimmer shades. These look like identical shades. I just think she stepped up and elevated the formulation in the second palette. This one right here is the first one. You can barely see it. This one is the second one. And I did all of these with just one finger swipe swatches. I didn't go over any of them. So you can definitely tell that this second one is a little bit more bright and just more pigmented, which I'm very thankful for because the shimmer in the first palette was just kind of a dud. I never reached for it, but I can definitely see myself reaching for this one. And then the last two are the two blues. You can tell that they are completely different. This is a more diamond astral sort of special shade where it's really, really reflective and shimmery. And this one is just more of a satin, like metallic shimmery sort of a shade. This one is like a light baby blue sort of reflect. And this is like a robin egg, almost Tiffany blue kind of shade. So while they are very similar, they are, like I said, I do think they're different enough to have both. And I just love the first one so much. I've said that like 5 times already, but genuinely, I love the first one. If you can tell, the embossings are like almost gone. Like it's a hot mess. It's just such a good palette that I just knew I wanted to pick up the second one. And then we do have this pop of color here that is definitely way different than the first palette. Like I said, I'm not in love with this. I'm probably not going to use it today. So sorry about that. These type of tones, I'm not a big fan on my fair skin. But then we have this stunning special shade here that is new. Oh my gosh, I am just so excited about this. That is gorgeous. So let's finally get to applying this palette on my eyes. Alrighty, I went ahead and just primed my eyes. You guys, guess what I primed with? My NARS Tinted Smudge Proof Eyeshadow Base. I found it. I'm so excited. It was a long 2 weeks without this baby. I could not find it. If you are new here, I could not find this anywhere. And guess where it was at? It was literally in the drawer that I always keep it in, but it was in the back of the drawer, and I usually keep it in the front of the drawer. And God forbid I open it all the way up. But I was adding new makeup to it a couple days ago, and I like had to take it completely out to just reorganize and rearrange things, and I found it, and the elation I felt, I didn't realize how good of an eyeshadow primer this was until I didn't have it anymore, and I was having to go back to my MAC paint pot, which is just not doing the job anymore. I think it's old, or concealer, and again, just doesn't do the job for me. So I'm so glad this is back because it was out of stock everywhere. I'm not kidding you. Sephora, Ulta, NARS's website, everywhere, in person, online. Could not find it anywhere. So I'm so glad I found it. In my review of the first palette, I was able to use all 6 shades for you guys and try them all out for you. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that today, unfortunately, only because I have physical therapy for my back and then I go to work after this. So I'm not trying to like force myself to use like all of these shades together, if that makes sense. I will definitely make sure I'm doing more looks with this palette, and there's going to be other reviews out there with it as well, using probably all the shades or different shades that I don't use. So you will definitely be able to find these shades in action elsewhere. But we are going to start off with this pink one right here. This is her satin matte formula. I'm pretty sure she introduced this in the first collab palette, and you guys, it is such a good formulation. At least the other 2 pink ones in the first palette, they are just so creamy and smooth, and they go on so nicely. They don't get patchy. They wear all day long. I'm really hoping this is going to be a new formulation from her that she continues. I'm hoping that it's not just in these 2 collab palettes and then that's it. We never see it again, because it's really good. Yeah, so this is just a little bit more corally of a shade, a beautiful corally pink. I actually really like it, and I feel like on the eyes it is looking different than the other 2, which is nice. I know I keep comparing it to the first palette, but I mean, if you picked up the first palette, chances are you might be watching this to decide if you want to pick up the second palette as well. So I'm gonna probably keep referring to the first palette, so sorry about that if that gets a little annoying. But this is blending out like a dream. I kind of figured it would because the formulation, this is with the 2 layers. It definitely gets up there in pigmentation. You don't have to build it too much. Then we are going to take the matte in the palette. I'm curious to see how this applies to my eyes because it is really similar to the first one, I'm not gonna lie. But I really do love that first matte. It's a really stunning shade. So we're just going to start packing this on. I definitely do think it has a little bit more hint of purple to it, burgundy purpley, than the other matte. But they're very similar, you guys. Which is a little bit of a bummer because I do own both palettes, and chances are if you pick up the second one, you already picked up the first collab Not always. I mean, I'm sure there are people out there who picked up the second one and not the first, but yeah, they're very, very similar. But I really like that first matte and I get a lot of use out of it. So I'm bummed because this palette was expensive to have like really similar shades, but I'm not bummed because I really love it. You know what I mean? But we're just gonna keep packing this on. It blended out nicely. It got slightly patchy on me, but nothing terrible. Eyeshadows always get patchy on me. And it's blending out nicely and it's combining with that pink very nicely. I definitely lost it a little bit. I'm gonna have to bring it back. Taking a smaller brush to bring it up into my crease. And I like that this matte is layering on itself nice. It's not getting too like bunchy or patchy when I keep layering it up, which is nice. I'm gonna go back in with that pink. I definitely don't want to lose that up at the top. All right, I think the only other thing I'm gonna do, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna put NYX glitter primer on my lid and then I have to go in with this special shade. It is just calling my name. Is this the main reason why I bought the palette? Yes, but I don't want to admit that because I don't want to admit I bought a $65 palette for one shade. But this was the main selling point for me, I'm not gonna lie, because it's just stunning. Did I just have those like brush hairs all over my face the whole time I was talking? I think I did. Why did you not tell me? Then we're gonna take that shade and tap it on. You guys, stop it. This is stunning. It is showing up a little less pink on my eye. I feel like it's almost turning up a little bit more goldy tone on my eye. I'm a little bummed about that. I would prefer it to be a little bit more pink, but look at that sparkle. Oh my goodness. But honestly, I love these sort of special shades from Pat. They can be a little tricky to work with because they're a little chunky and they can have quite a bit of fallout. That's why I always use glitter primer with them and do my eyes first. If you're not careful, they can be a little bit messy, but the impact and the sort of shimmer they put on your eye is just like unbeatable, like truly. The only thing that comes close to it is the new Patrick Ta Major Dimension Rose 2 palette that I recently reviewed. I feel like some of those sparkles in that palette really do give you this sort of impact on your eye. Not this intense, but that's like the only thing that I know of that has came close to a Pat McGrath special shade like this because, oh, like, are you serious right now? I look like I've got a disco ball on my eye and I'm here for it. A little bit more of that matte shade. Don't want to lose it on the outer corner. And then a little bit more of that pink as well. So that's where we're going to keep the eyes. Like I said, I'm so sorry I was not able to use these other two shades. I'm going to use this as my inner corner and brow bone highlight if I can. I think it'll be light enough. It might not, but I'm going to give it a go. But I am going to definitely use these shades in other videos coming up, so definitely be on the lookout for that. I'm not going to lie though, I am a slightly bit bummed because the shimmer in this palette, this one right here, it is truly one of the most beautiful, just metallic shimmer shades I have ever used in my life. I'm obsessed with it. I'm obsessed. I love it so much. And then this blue here to kind of not replace it, but to be like the same formulation is just not as good in my opinion. It's not as impactful. I mean, it definitely looks like it is there, but I don't know. There's just something about this one I don't love as much as this. It could also be the tone and the shade. I'm gonna have to try this one out on my eyes maybe before I judge it too hard because it's just not impressing me as much upon swatches. And then this one is just not a tone I think I would wear very often. Again, I'm gonna have to try it on my eyes before I judge it because it looks really sparkly and pretty there. Like, that looks stunning. I'm just usually not a big fan of these like goldy, like really gold shades on me, but it could pull more like greeny, dark, mossy kind of on my eyes. So again, I'm gonna have to give it a go before I like judge it too hard. But these three shades I'm loving. I think they look beautiful together and I'm excited. I'm excited for this palette. So let me go ahead and do the rest of my makeup. I'll come back on, do the lower lash line, the inner corner highlight, and try out the other shade. And then we've got a lipstick to try, baby. And when I swatched it, it looked stunning. So I'm excited to put it on these lips. So be right back. Alright, to finish up the lower lash line, you guys know we're being really simple always, but I actually am going to use two shades. Gotcha, not just one. We're going to use this one and then we're going to use this one. This one first, the matte first, and we're going to use that on like a little flat definer brush. Let me find one like this one, and we're just going to tap that matte on like the outer portion, going about halfway in on my eye. And then we're going to take the pink and run it along my whole lower lash line. I like how that looks. Then we're gonna take that champagne shade and try to use that as an inner corner highlight. Might be a little bit dark on me, I'm very fair. Yeah, it's a little bit dark. Still really pretty though. It has like a subtle hint of pink that is like really flattering with the other tones of the eyeshadow palette. And we're gonna put a little bit up here as a brow bone highlight. And then I wanna try it a little bit on my face as an actual highlight. I already have highlight on, but, oh, is that doing anything? Okay, I don't think that really did much. That's all right. All right, I'm gonna go do mascara and setting spray, and then we're gonna come back on and do the lips. All right, so I did go ahead and pick up a lipstick. This is called the McGrath Labs x Bridgerton Satin Allure Lipstick. So I picked up the shade Nude Romantique 2, I believe. I like this packaging. I think it's really cute. I'm a little confused on why some of them are blue and some of them are pink packaging, if I'm remembering correctly. It kind of makes me think that maybe some of these were meant to launch with the first palette because the first palette is all blue themed, and maybe for some reason they weren't ready, so they just launched them all with the second launch. I don't know, that's purely me speculating. I have absolutely no idea. Pat did not call me up and tell me the tea on that. But I think the packaging is cute, the bow is cute. It makes it a little hard to store, but not a big deal. Her normal packaging has those lips on it anyways. It is slightly smaller than her normal packaging. Her normal lipsticks, you get 4 grams, and this one you get 3.7 grams. Not entirely sure why there is a difference, but that's all right. So when you open it up, like I said, I got Nude Romantique 2. I believe this was the lightest shade of all the lipsticks that were released. Like, look how pretty that is. That's a really stunning shade, and I actually like that it's more satin, so it has a little bit of a glow to it. So yeah, I'm gonna try it on without a lip liner and see what it looks like, and then maybe if I want to change it up and add a lip liner, I will. But let's try this out on its own first. So it's really smooth and glidey and pretty opaque. I probably didn't need to go over it as many times as I did. But yeah, this is really pretty. I am really enjoying this shade a lot. I think it goes with the eye look. It's a slightly more mauve-y than the pink shade in the crease, but that's all right. I think it matches the rest of the look really well. I think it would benefit from a lip liner just because I'm like newly obsessed with lip liners, but I think it looks beautiful on its own as well. So if you wanted to pick up one of the lipsticks and you don't like lip liner, or you don't wear lip liner, I think you would be fine. It feels comfortable on the lips. It's not like thick, and it does have that sheen and glow to it, but in like a really pretty way. I obviously don't know the lasting power of this lipstick. If I had to assume, just with my knowledge of lipsticks, because it is a little bit more slippy and shiny, it wouldn't last a ton of time, but I could see it lasting for a couple hours. Probably not through a meal though. But yeah, I'm like really in love with this shade. I'm really glad this was the one I picked up. It described it as like a more cool tone pink, and I definitely agree with that. It is very cool tone on me, which I'm happy about. A lot of times cool tone makeup pulls warm tone on me, and I'm like, no, I love cool tone makeup. I want it to be cool. And I feel like this definitely is. So yeah, I'm happy with this little purchase. So overall, my thoughts on the palette. I think it's a really pretty palette. I do. I am glad I picked it up. However, I just don't know if you have the first one and you love the first one, if you need the second one. I can definitely see myself using these in conjunction a lot and pulling from both palettes at the same time to create a look, because this one is a little less cohesive than the first palette. Again, the first palette, I was able to use all 6 shades to make an eye look. And here I didn't feel like I necessarily could. I probably could have if I pushed myself, you know, to use both of these. But yeah, I just feel like it's a little less cohesive than the first one. Stunning nonetheless. The quality seems to be as good as the first one. The matte didn't get patchy. This satin matte is beautiful like the first one as well. I love this shade, and actually when I was like up close and personal to the mirror putting on my mascara, I noticed, and I didn't notice this at first, but I noticed how many different sparkle shades are in it. Like, it looks like there's champagne and gold and pink and purple, which makes it look really like super intense and dimensional on your eye. My only qualm is I really wish it pulled more pink on me. It pulls more gold, which is beautiful, but I just wish it pulled a little bit more pink on me. But nonetheless, it's a very stunning shade, and I am excited to try out both of these shades as well. Overall, I think if you have the first one, you don't need the second one. I'm glad I picked this up. I'm gonna get use out of it, but from my first impressions trying this one, I feel like I like the first collab palette more, and I'm going to get more use out of the first one. But again, this is very new in my collection. I only used it once. I'll definitely keep you guys updated on my thoughts if it changes. And the lipstick, like I said, I think it's cute and comfortable. The packaging is adorable. I recommend if you find a shade that you like, I say go for it. If you are curious about anything else on my face, I will have it listed and linked down below for you to check out. But yeah, that was it, you guys. That was my first impressions and swatches and all of that on the new Pat McGrath Bridgerton Mothership Belle of the Ball palette and her lipstick. So overall, I like it. I think it's a pretty palette. But I don't know. I just don't know if you necessarily need to spend the money on it. So let me know down below in the comments. Are you picking this up? Have you picked it up? What are your thoughts on it? I'm excited to watch other reviews now. I hadn't been watching them because I knew I wanted to film one myself, and I try to not get too much other, opinions in my mind before I review something myself. So now that I've tried this out, I'm excited to go watch other reviews and hear what other people are saying as well. Are they like blown away by it, or are they kind of like me where they're like, the first one's a little bit better? But let me know down below in the comments what your thoughts are on this palette and this look that I made right here. If you made to the end of this video, thank you so much. You're awesome and I love you. Please subscribe if you have not yet, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye guys.